everyone, Jelly here, and thanks for coming to watch another nail polish video. Today I am swatching Cupcake Polish's Cloud Collection. This polish came out at the end of 2022. I got mine back in January, but I ended up getting sick with strep pretty early in the year, so I wasn't able to do the voiceover until now. I am using KB Shimmer's Nail Strengthening Base Coat for all of my swatches. I just feel that it does a great job with keeping my nails fresh with all the removal I do. And let's go ahead and get started. Up first, we have Cloud 9, which is described as a sky blue nail polish filled with pink, green, and gold iridescent shimmer. This one on that first go around is definitely stunning. If you wanted to wear it on that more thin side, just the one coat to add splash of color, you could definitely get away with that. It does show that visible nail line though, so if you don't like that look, I would not recommend that first coat. The formula on this was so nice, super easy to work with. I just really love the formula, and I love having that paddle brush. I love that it's not too wide, but it's also not too thin as well. Makes putting it on super easy. As you can see, I had to add a little bit more to my brush. I don't know why, but I have a hard time with being consistent with how much I put on my brush. Sometimes it's too much, sometimes it's too little. There's no in between, but I'm working on that. As you can see, it is super duper shifty as I move my fingers around. I love that purple shimmer that comes through. I would personally wear this in 2 coats. I feel like that it does a really good job of covering the visible nail line. If I wanted to, I would definitely want to go for that 3rd coat if I wanted a little bit deeper color, or I wanted to make sure I was getting full coverage for that. As I said before, I feel like I personally have a pretty strong nail line, so having a 3rd coat on a polish like this isn't really the worst thing. You can also see that with the more coats of polish you put on, the deeper the color gets. And I just loved this formula. I know I already said that, but definitely a polish to pick up if you are looking for something special. And there is 1, 2, and 3 coats. Up next is Daydreaming, which is described as a white crelly polish filled with silver, purple, pink, and blue metallic flakes and a pink and blue iridescent shimmer. Because of how very thin that white base is in it, you could definitely get away with wearing this one as a gorgeous topper. I could see it slightly lightening up a darker color as well with how thin that base is, but I don't think it would do too much. I would have to play around with that. I really love polishes that have flakies in it. I just really love how it looks. I just think it makes everything look so unique, and it's almost like easy nail art in my opinion as well too. On that first coat, it definitely is nice if you are just looking for a pop of color, but you are not looking for anything too extravagant for your nails, especially when you move it around. But when you go in with that 2nd coat, you can definitely see that color start to deepen up as well. For the shimmer that's in it, because of all the flakies in it, I personally find it a little bit hard to see it, but you can definitely see all the flakes, and I really think it's just so gorgeous with those flakes on. On that 2nd coat, I still, as I said before, I think it gives great coverage. Definitely still gives a your nails but better look. But if you are looking for full opacity, I would definitely go in for that 3rd coat. That's where I had full coverage for everything. For this one as well, on top of that 3 coats being opacity, I would definitely also recommend a glossy top coat to remove any texture on it. And there is 1, 2, and 3 coats. Next up we have Divine, which is a light pink nail polish filled with green iridescent flakies and holographic flakies. I would say this one was definitely my favorite in the collection. It's definitely my preferred shade of pink. Definitely more on the lighter side, but still really deep in color, if that makes sense. It's hard to tell in that first coat, but it for sure gives a your nails but better look. I'm also a sucker for anything that has green in it, and I love that these flakes in it are more of a yellow leaning green as well. I really think it stands out so beautifully with that pink, especially since they are technically complementary colors. For that little bit of holographic flakies, I think that adds a nice little sparkle. It's a little bit hard to see in the setup, but when I wiggle my fingers a little bit, you can kind of see it with the camera light. When I go in for that second coat, if you are really careful, I would say you can easily get away with just doing this in 2 coats. But again, if you have a stronger nail line like I do, I would strongly recommend going in for that 3rd coat, or if you weren't very careful. I personally wore this as a manicure during the month of February as well on its own, just because it is so stunning. I did do it in 3 coats just because that is what worked best for me for what I was doing, and that's the coverage I wanted at the time as well too. As you can see with that 3rd coat, definitely brightens up that color, makes everything look so beautiful. I just really love this polish, and this formula wasn't hard to remove at all either. And there is 1, 2, and 3 coats of Divine. Next up, we have Head in the Clouds, which is described as a silver holographic nail polish filled with holographic flakies. Now, this one is definitely anyone that really loves holographic polishes go to, in my opinion. The thing that I knew Cupcake polish for prior to finally trying them was their holographic polishes that I would see on Amazon listings, and this is definitely so gorgeous, and it's just so unique because it's like a silver linear hollow base and it has those flakies in it, and you would think, oh, you wouldn't notice that much of a difference, but because it has those hollow flakies in it, it really does, in my opinion, just make that little bit of a difference. On that first coat, it is a little bit hard to tell that there is a difference between the flakies and the regular linear hollow, but as it gets built up, you can definitely see that difference start to come out. You can also see that little bit of the hollow sparkle a little bit as I move my fingers around. On that second coat, it definitely built up to full opacity. Really gorgeous, love that as well. As I said before, I sometimes get too little on my brush, or then I get too much. On that case, it was too little, so I had to fix that up. But in that second coat, it's so stunning. You can definitely see that rainbow pattern coming out a little bit more in my video with that. And even when I wiggle my finger around, I feel like it just brings out that hollow a lot more as well, just being able to see those shifts as my finger moves. And then I personally don't think you will need that 3rd coat unless you like it that way or you have incredibly long nails. This one is just perfect in 2 coats in my opinion, but it's all a matter of preference in the end. And there is 1, 2, and 3 coats. Next in the collection is Lilac Haze, which is described as a lilac jelly nail polish filled with red to gold to green iridescent flakies and red, gold to green iridescent glitters. This one is definitely a jelly polish. In 3 coats, I found that I wasn't able to build it up to full opacity, even though I do have pretty short nails. Again, that might have also been because I do have a pretty strong nail line, in my opinion, as well. But this one is definitely beautiful. I would totally recommend wearing this one over a purple polish as a nice little topper. Those flakes in it make it so gorgeous, and because of how light catching they are, it definitely helps hide any imperfections you might have with your swatching, or can help hide that visible nail line as well. Just look how beautiful those shifts are when I move my fingers around. In 2 coats, it definitely builds up that deeper color, but because this is a more sheer jelly, it's not going to give you full opacity on that 2nd coat. And I would even go as far to say, as I said before, on that 3rd coat. But it is super pretty. You can definitely see with all those flakes, when the light catches it, that it does a much better job of helping conceal that visible nail line, which is something that I do also appreciate in a more sheer polish as well. And with that 3rd coat, it definitely gives you the most color payout, but you can still strongly see that visible nail line coming through, even with that gorgeous color it has. As always, I do recommend for flakies wearing a top coat just to help smooth everything out. And there's 1, 2, and 3 coats. Last, we have Up, Up, and Away. It is described as a white acrylic nail polish filled with red iridescent shimmer. This was the other big standout in the collection for me. I do myself enjoy a white acrylic, and I love that this one is pretty opaque on that 1st coat already. That totally makes a difference for me. And with that red shimmer in there, it is so stunning, makes it so beautiful. That 1 coat could definitely be used as a your nails but better sort of look if you're looking for something simple, or just need to put something on your nails before you go to work or you're going out to an event. The formula on this one was so good, so easy to work with, and I personally find 2 coats is more than enough for the coverage as well. As I said before, I do have a pretty visible nail line in my opinion, and having a white acrylic or a white polish can definitely help hide it, especially with that red shimmer going through. With this, I didn't end up getting enough on my brush the first time, so the 2nd coat on the middle finger ended up being a little bit thick, but you can definitely see that it did cover that nail line pretty well. I also loved just how dainty the color is for that one. But as you'll see when I do my 3rd coat, that if you wanted to deepen up that white polish, it really does make a difference adding that 3rd coat. So for this one, I would say it is a matter of preference as well. But on that 2nd coat, you can see it does a fairly good job of covering up that visible nail line. But if you are looking for full opacity, intense color, definitely go in for that 3rd coat. Again, as I said before, this one was the other major standout in the collection for it. I just loved how intense that red shimmer is, and my videos do not do this justice at all. It's really a shame. And that is 1, 2, and 3 coats. And there is the complete cloud collection. Definitely let me know which ones were your favorites in the comments below. As I said before, Divine and Up, Up, and Away were definitely the standout in the collection for me. I also really I liked all of them. Lilac Haze is not one I would personally reach for very often, just because I do prefer a full coverage within those 3 coats. But I would definitely see that one being great in like a jelly sandwich or over a purple. And I love that a lot of the ones with flakies can also be worn as a topper if you wanted to over a similar base color. If you liked what you saw in this video, please also hit that like button and lets me know that you want to see more content like this. And then be sure to also hit that subscribe button so you can see what other I do. I cannot guarantee consistency, but I am going to do my best to post as many videos as I can. It does seem like it's going to be more nail polish related, since that seems to be what more people like, and it's just a lot easier for me to do and have fun with. And with that, I will talk to you in the next video. Bye!